Hi all, scrolling along with Susan. Well, I have decided I'm going to do an Intarsia project. I have done them before. Some have turned out fine. The other ones, the pieces just, I never got them to fit right. So I am using Intarsia woodworking for beginners, and this is by Kathy Wise. And I'm doing one of the level 1, this cute little Beagle puppy. And I tell you, the part that I am having the most fun with is picking out the wood that I want to use. I mean, I just love all the patterns. So I hope you come along on this journey with me. I have blown this pattern up to 125%. It might be just a little bit larger than this, but I like the size of it. That's actually probably the size of a real Beagle puppy. And I made 4 copies of this. One is my master copy, and the other ones I'm able to cut up to place on the pieces of wood. And I might need 5. If you can make 5, it's probably better. I want to see how to place each piece. And she has arrows telling you on the wood which direction it should go. So take your time, place your pieces on different kinds of wood, see what you want to work with. I use Gorilla Glue spray adhesive to spray the back of the pattern. I am following the directions of Kathy Wise, and she suggests for this project for all the wood to be 1 inch thick, except for this, which is 1/4 of an inch thick. And you need to have a plan. We are so used to, as scroll saw people, to just keep turning and curving and doing all of the work at one time. For this, you need to have a strategy, and you can see I've written all over this one piece. This is my first cut. This is number 1. I am not going to turn and try to do a nice tight turn because this has to fit with something else. So this is 1. I'm going to stop. I'm going to come back and do 2. And then 3. I am going to be using a modified geometry scroll saw blade 3R from Pegasus. A lot of scroll saw artists use 2, 1, 0s. You can use larger ones for the outside. It is crucial that your blade, once installed, is definitely at a 90-degree angle on the side and in the back. One thing I don't talk enough about are masks. Now, you're dealing with all different kinds of species, and some can be quite caustic to your lungs. Protect yourself when cutting. I was having a hard time with my very dark blade finding the black line, so I highlighted it. You can either use like a light orange like I did, or a yellow, so you can see the line a little better. The piece on the right, the very first cut that I've done, that took me about 8 minutes, a really long time, because you don't want to push the piece, because then that's when the blade can go to the left or the right and you won't have a 90-degree cut. You have to take your time with that. 1 inch thick, boy, I really wish I would have done 3/4 of an inch thick. I would have had a little bit more fun cutting. And I also drilled pilot holes right at where I was going to start cutting so that I wasn't wasting my blade on empty space that wasn't going to be part of the final cutting. And the picture in the bottom left-hand side is showing me doing the veining on the pawls. That's just when you cut on the line and then back out, go to the next area, cut on the line, and back out. I'm also using a magnifying lamp, which really helps me stay on the line better. And also it's less eye strain watching that blade going up and down and up and down. It just really helps to be able to see a lot better. And this next part is showing the head part. I'm cutting out the eyelids, and this is where you want to really take your time, brand new blade, so you can be super accurate. Of course, you want to be accurate on all of it, but really around the eye, which people, when they were looking at Intarsia projects, kind of focus on the eyes. 15 number 3 blades later, and 5 number 5 blades later, I finally got it cut out. Had a big mistake with this piece. I cut it out, you know, all in one, but I wanted to do it in white. So for some reason, I had the direction of the grain the wrong way, which is fine because it did not fit well at all. So I recut that one. Fits pretty nice now. The other mistake I made was this piece right here that's in the front of the body. Should have been 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch like this piece was. I didn't see that. So what I'm going to do is I made these little holders for my scroll saw. I'm going to tighten that down, hold it down, and cut it a little bit thinner. In Kathy's book, she gives very clear information on how to sand. And the first thing you want to do is determine how far down you're going to be sanding. You never want to go to the bottom because that will change the integrity of the piece. And you also will be marking how wide or how deep you're going to be starting on top. So she wants you to go from this direction, sand all of this on a nice curve all the way down to your line on the side. So take your time, mark the piece properly. It is time to start sanding. Now what I'll be using mainly is a Delta bench grinder variable speed. And these are sleeves that you can purchase with the unit here from Judy Gail Roberts Studio. And the sleeves of sandpaper I think are 80, 120, and 220. And they certainly come in handy. This is my newest purchase that I have. This is just a handheld oscillating spindle sander. And it's from Win. And I think it was $55 on Amazon. You can buy a separate spindle sander that's quite a bit more, but basically I just flipped this over, secured this, and this will work really nicely. I have a lot of detailed sanding to do, especially on the dog's paws. And I have a rotary tool, or you can call it a Dremel, and I have also a nice attachment that makes it a lot easier to handle this tool. And I tried about 4 or 5 different bits in here to find the one that's going to work best for me. Now I am coming back with a little sanding tool to smooth out as much as I can, and then I will be hand sanding the rest of the way. So I have 2 pieces of wood burn, the part on the nose, and a little bit of that, I don't know what you want to call it, connecting tissue in the mouth. Everything's been wiped down with paint thinner, dried, and now it's time for sealing. Now I'm using Danish oil, natural colored Danish oil. Make sure when you're sealing your piece, you're leaving the edge part unfinished so when you glue them together, it's not causing any kind of difficulty with their gluing. My next step is gluing. Now, Kathy Wise uses CA glue. I want something that's fairly fast, but takes a lot longer than CA glue. So if I have to shift the pieces or change anything on there, it's going to be a little bit easier. I'm putting glue on mainly the bottom part so that I'm not having a lot of glue squeeze out. I have a piece of 1/4 inch thick Luan that I'm going to use for the backer. I am just using a pencil to draw around the outside, and then I will be cutting it 1/8 inch smaller than my actual puppy dog. I am just making sure that there's no sawdust or anything on the back of my pattern and the piece before gluing. Make sure you have a nice amount of glue on here so that it adheres very well to the backing. Something like that. I may not need this many clamps on this, but I just want to ensure that the backer board is glued properly to my piece. The last part to decide is, are you going to frame it or are you going to put hooks on the back and just hang it up like this? These little D hooks are wonderful. I just want to give a shout out to Kathy Wise and her beginner's book and this wonderful pattern for the Beagle. It is named Marsa. One of my granddaughters named her that. And I wanted just to pay tribute to one of the most recognized and wonderful Intarsia artists of our time. Judy Gail Roberts passed away less than a year ago, and ever since I heard of her passing, I really wanted to do an Intarsia project. I was able to take one of her beginner classes down in Tennessee, and I'm so glad that I did. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this project.